everybody. I'm TJ Majors, spotter of the 6 Cup car this weekend. Also had the 41 truck and the 88 Cup car. Or 88 Cup car. No,
Jesus.
the 80. Yeah, it's
You're,
lack of sleep.
you're off a good start today. What's up, Freddie Kraft,
Yeah,
spotter for Bubba Wallace? I don't know who else I spotted for this weekend.
I
I'm
know the
still in
feeling.
I'm still in Nashville. It's early morning. TJ took 30 minutes to get his Zoom set up, so we're doing pretty good so far.
Hey guys, Casey Boat here. I would think, maybe in a little bit better mood than the other two. But I'm glad we made it. Brett, of course.
Wow,
We're
everybody's doing
just
good.
not cool enough for him again today. Didn't show up. So, wherever you are, Brett, we miss you. Maybe.
Oh yeah.
Not in this tone. Anyways, we are back from Nashville after a race that might have taken about 6 hours to finish. But at the end, Joey Logano gets the win, finally locks himself in the playoffs. And I want to know what in the world
Great, grand, fantastic.
is this sarcasm? It's hard to tell.
What do you think, Casey? If you remember
Uh,
correctly, I was pretty close to the cut line.
Well, you never know. Over Zoom, it's hard to tell your facial expressions. Um,
I mean, you
That was
should have
about
known
the
that by
worst.
the point
yeah,
standings.
how
Yeah, that was
how
about the worst.
in the world did he? I mean, was he just slow? How did he save so much fuel to make it to the end, unlike the others?
That's what Gabehart said. Gabehart said he saved it because he was SOLE slow.
Oh,
And I
is
don't know
that how
how he
you
did
spell
it.
slow?
No, that's how Gabehart spelled his tweet
Oh,
out.
I missed it. Oh, that's awesome.
I don't. What a disaster! What a disaster of a race. I mean, I shouldn't have the whole race, but the finish. Oh
Yeah,
my
I
god!
mean, it got really messy. Uh, for some reason, it got we couldn't go green, and it was I don't know why. I know we go back to the old saying that cautions breed cautions, but oh my gosh, um, it was just people running over each other every restart. So um, yeah, I mean, we were 3 laps down, and we were one more from being on the lead lap.
I
So
was gonna say, would you get a top 10 out of that? Probably. I mean,
almost we made a lot of spots up. I think we got back to 25th because of just guys wrecking. So I don't know why. Just the way it is, you got to slow down so much for turn one that it just gives everybody opportunity to get there. You know what I mean? Like you have to. It's a big short track, so when you got to slow down that much for the corner and people can get to you, it makes all that possible.
yeah. I mean, you look at the end of the race, and I haven't gone back and looked. TJ, you could probably look on SMT, but the caution that came out for Austin Cindric sounded like him and Noah Gragson running into each other back there, racing for God knows what, probably 30th. Um, and that brings out the yellow. Well, we're all already pushing the fuel windows. Like we had to pit on that first caution because we were going to run out at the checker flag essentially. But it's just that goes on back there, and you ruin the race for. I mean, you ruin their race. Cindric and Gregson, whatever the hell they're doing back there. You've got so many guys that were running the top five at that point. Ty Gibbs gets wrecked. Denny's got to pit for fuel. Ross gets wrecked. All these guys that were in the top five are going to have good days. Their days are ruined now because these idiots in the back are running in over each other and have no regard for anybody else on the racetrack, essentially. But it's just that then what happens is everybody's pushing the fuel window. So now, you have another wreck on a restart. Well, now there's guys running out on restarts twice, two restarts in a row. The guy directly in front of us ran out of fuel. So now we were in really prime position, I thought, to maybe win the race even. And Larson runs out. We're restarting sixth on fresh tires. Everybody else we got a little buffer to the guys on tires or fresh right sides anyway. And I'm like, man, we're actually in pretty good shape here. Like we might have a shot at this. Larson runs out, and like two guys get, three or four guys go over by us, and I'm like, damn. All right, we get back up there to about sixth again, sixth, eighth, and Chase runs out directly in front of us and drags us back, and that's how Reddick got around us. And it's just, once you get to that point where guys are just run, everybody's willing. They're not going to pit. They're just going to risk it, and that's why the cautions kept coming out, is because guys are running out of fuel and scatters on restarts. So it was just. I mean, what we end up running, like 30 extra laps. It was pretty.
Yeah, that, and whenever guys that were having to pit for fuel or um, get sent to the back that have fast cars, they are definitely in a hurry to get back towards the front as quick as they can, and they're not lifting for basically anything. So it's like throwing gasoline on a fire at that point. Everything's you got guys trying to save, you got guys on new tires that are 100% go now, and they're behind them. So, and then as slow as we got to go. Not that it's slow, but we all can't make turn one without lifting. So they just drive in there until the other guy breaks, and they use them as a brake.
Is that?
Yeah,
Go ahead, Freddie.
it was. No, it's pretty ridiculous. I was just saying it's pretty ridiculous.
So, I mean, obviously that's not something that NASCAR can necessarily mandate. I think if you were in their shoes, would you guys have tried to risk it, like a Denny Hamlin, Kyle Larson, and at the front run out, or is there something that they've done wrong? I mean, I can't imagine NASCAR can really say much at this point either.
No, there's nothing NASCAR could do about it. And you saw, eventually you got to throw the towel in. Gabehart, I think that they were close to making it to the end on fuel, and I think that Gabehart, said somewhere I saw where he said he had one Green-White-Checker in him. Well, I think they did maybe two, and then they just they did they don't want to get their car wrecked. At that point, you're thinking more guys are going to run out, which they did. So it's just you win at all costs, like we always say, and that's what you put yourself in. These guys are just willing to risk it and hope they got one more lap of fuel in them.
Agreed. Well, something else I want to cover before we head into spot on, spot off. I noticed on the broadcast they were talking a little bit more around how NASCAR is being more strict around pit stops and pit road in general. And I know there was at one point Austin Cindric got penalized for a fan that was on the pit wall, and it seemed like it was providing an advantage blowing towards the car. What do you guys think of that? Is that fair?
This happened coming out of the red flag, I assume. Like, I don't know what the hell happened. I heard him get a penalty for. I heard him get a penalty for whatever. I don't even know what they worded it as. But yeah, I don't. It was just fan pointing.
It was a fan sitting on pit wall, and I guess it looked like it was trying to cool down the car, which NASCAR wasn't too fond of.
We don't our teams don't make many mistakes. And if they were if there was a fan pointing at the car, it was for a reason, probably. I don't know. It seems a little ticky tack, but I'm sure they have. Where I don't know what the wording is. Bob can call me tonight and tell me what the wording is on the rules about fans pointing towards cars during rain delays. But yeah, I mean that seems a little ticky tack. Their penalty calls this week were interesting to me. You've got Lane Riggs gets the first rough riding penalty I've seen in a long time during the race. And I that was a direct result of how long that had been going on for. I think me and TJ were standing next to each other getting a kick out of him and Stephen Parsons just trying to absolutely wreck each other for like 6 laps, it seemed like. But yeah, I don't know. Like you see that penalty for reckless driving, and Carson Hocevar goes and hooks somebody down the back straightaway under yellow, and that's not a penalty.
We'll talk about that one soon. Don't you worry.
I don't know. I don't get it.
TJ, what do you think about that one?
Yeah, I mean, I guess they were watching the same thing me and Freddie were watching the whole time, because I don't know if you just look down and see it happen right then. I don't know. I don't know if they just saw it then or they watched the whole time and thought it was a little too far, because those guys were leaning on each other pretty hard. And sometimes, I mean, I don't think Stefan was trying to lean on Lane as hard as he was, but at these tracks like this, when you go down there and you lay on a guy's door as hard as he was, the guy's going to get loose and he's going to hit you. So you're when you get out there and do that, the guy has no control over his truck at that point when they get that close, and you make your own luck in that scenario. And even if the roles were reversed, if Stefan gets on Lane's door that tight, Lane's going to get loose, and he's going to need a little room to correct his truck. So I don't know. It's kind of self-inflicted whenever Lane goes on there and gets that close to him, and Stefan's got to save his truck. And, the whole excuse, well, if you're so loose, don't drive down there. Well, the only reason he got that loose is because you're on his door that tight. And if you want to get yourself wrecked, that's the way to do it. You don't have to be, I mean, they were literally rubbing at the bottom. Like, there's no room to do anything. But then just to come back and wreck a guy's truck, because that happened. I don't know if, I guess they're trying to send a message that that's not acceptable. So
interesting. All right, well, let's kick off spot on, spot off, shall we?
Let's.
Summer's finally here. When I'm thinking of summer plans, it's hanging out by the pool, barbecuing on the grill, or best of all, sports. And this summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus daily. That's right. There's something for everyone every day all summer long.
From NASCAR races to baseball games, there's nothing like kicking back and catching a game with some buddies or the family. So head on over to FanDuel.com/DBC and start making the most of your summer. FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the Major League Baseball.
FanDuel helps me keep up with the latest action in the sports world. All I have to do is open the app and make up any of the bets I'm in the mood for.
Must be 21 and present in North Carolina. Opt-in required. Wager requirements apply. Bonuses awarded as non-withdrawable bonus bets or profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including bonus expiration. See terms and conditions at FanDuel.com/sportsbooks. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
First topic. We saw a total of 5 overtime attempts at Nashville, which was a new Cup Series record. With how much carnage we saw, NASCAR should limit the number of overtime attempts. Spot on, spot off, Freddie.
This is never a popular answer with our crowd. I don't even know why we have Green-White.
don't do it.
I don't know why we have Green-White-Checkers, period. If the race is 300 laps, it should end at lap 300. That's just, I don't know. That's the way it's always went. The yellow came out, it's over. I get it. It's not the most entertaining finish, but then you end up with, if you don't do that, you end up with what we had last night, where just millions and millions of dollars of got torn up because we can't figure out how to restart without running each other over. So I don't know. I'm just me being my typical old man yelling yelling at the sky. Traditionalist, but if the race is 300 laps, that's it. If you want, maybe one attempt at a green-white checker, but this is what happens when you have unlimited attempts. We just have unlimited wrecks running each other over. So that's kind of where I've always been about it, and that's where I'm still at.
So to save yourself a few tweets from people who will argue against ending under yellow, you'd be fine just ending in yellow. What would your solve be?
Yeah, it's the Daytona 500. It's not the Daytona 512 or whatever we end up racing. Indy 500. They're throwing red flags to make sure they get a one lap shootout in for the Indy 500, lap 200 or whatever it is. So, I don't. It's not popular. By no means. It's not, and it's not exciting. It's not the most entertaining way to do it. But respect the distance of the race.
TJ.
Yeah, I see both sides of it. I just know it's never going to go back to the where it ends like that. So, in my opinion, I think that it should be unlimited. But this is the Cup Series, and these guys are supposed to be able to take care of each other enough and have a great race back to the line. And that's what this is built for, because, the fans want to see that great finish with the top two guys like we saw at the end there. But the problem is, like last night, the guy in 18th and 19th were wrecking each other and taking away from that finish. So, I understand the end on the the lap, the distance of the race, but I also think that the Cup Series should be unlimited.
Interesting.
331 laps last night. 31 extra laps.
But if it had ended,
Unlimited.
That's got to be a record. It's got to be a record.
It's 31 laps and probably, I wonder how many millions. I wonder if we eclipse the 31 million mark.
Take away all of the green-white-checkered attempts, and they ended it under the first yellow. Do you think fans would have thought it was a good race from that point on, before it?
I mean, I don't know who thinks that. Again, there's a fine line between entertaining and good, I think, and that might have been entertaining to watch at the end, but it was pretty embarrassing from where I was standing. It's just, we can't. It's amazing that we can't. These are supposed to be the best drivers, the best drivers in the country, and we can't get 2 laps in for 5 tries. It was not one of our finer moments. Before that, the race I thought was okay. It wasn't great. It was kind of hard to pass, but there's room to move around and find some speed somewhere. But it was just I had a bad day, so I'm maybe in a bad mood today.
Nobody noticed. Had no idea. TJ, do you think it would be considered a good race without all those green-white-checkered attempts?
I thought it was a good race, before that, and I do think it got carried away. There's no doubt about it at the end. When it's okay to go in there and maybe have a guy overdrive the first little bit and maybe hit a guy a little bit, but when they're just driving over each other like they were, in the second half of the field, it's not – that's taking away from it. I mean, you shouldn't have to watch the leaders race and then look back here to see the guy in the back that's spinning down through the grass. If they're going to get together, it should be one of the top 2 or 3 or 4 or whatever coming to the start finish line. But it did get it got carried away at the end for sure.
Next topic. In the second overtime attempt, Kyle Larson turned Ross Chastain, sending him to the wall and directly in front of Kyle Busch. Busch was passed by nearly the entire field since he had to come to almost a full stop to avoid the contact. NASCAR then gives Busch back his 4th place spot in that third overtime attempt. Spot on, spot off, TJ.
This happened twice last night that I saw cars. I didn't see the 8 wreck or get involved in it. I don't know. Did you see how involved was he in the wreck, Freddie?
He was directly behind
Ross.
It was Ross's wreck, right? It was one of them deals where Ross spun up the hill in front of him, and Kyle basically came to a crawl to stay out of it. He was in the wreck. He was on DVP,
if that counts.
Yeah, I mean,
how can you be on DVP and not in the wreck is beyond me.
But even if even if a guy runs into your bumper when you're slowing down for a wreck, you're on DVP though. So, yeah. I can understand, and I can understand Kyle more because Kyle's just missing the wreck, and if he gets bumped from behind, I don't feel like there should be a penalty for a guy that's if you're doing what you should be doing to miss a wreck, because later in the race, and we'll talk about it later. It's going to come up in a segment. Kyle was doing the right thing. Now, the other one was the 9, and he was the reason for the caution. He's literally dune buggying down through the front stretch grass there, and I don't know how you give them he came out pretty much at the back of the field into 1, and that's where he should be. He was the reason for the caution at that point, and I just don't know how you look at a guy spinning out through the grass and he gets it straight and he's and you throw the caution for him and he comes out like I don't know how that happens.
I got a kick out of that one because the 9, he rightfully so for him. The 9 he's immediately driving back up to where he feels like he should be, and the tower is like, nope, stop the 9. Where's he going? Get back here, get back there where you belong. And then Correction, 9, you're good behind so-and-so, and here he goes passing 10, 15 cars again. Yeah, I don't know. I hate
What's the difference between him spinning out in the corner and spinning down through the grass? If he starts spinning out when he's leading the race and he saves it and they throw the caution for it, does he just get to drive back up to the lead if he's leading? I mean, where
Yeah,
does
I
this
mean,
end?
you go where you
Apparently
blend.
you do.
You go where you blend, but I didn't realize that counted for the grass. You know what I mean? Like, I thought the blend was like where you come back up on the racetrack and get in line. It seemed like they put him wherever he continued to, he kept his pace up through the grass as he's bouncing down the front straightaway. It seemed like he got credit for being down there. That's where it seemed
Yeah,
like they put him.
he's out of balance wrecking to me at that point. So where he blends to me, which was pretty much at the back, is where he should have been scored at that point in time. I don't know how that one worked
the
out,
the
but
the deal with the 8, we got a text, the three of us, from a former series official, and he had he was thinking along my lines. He's like, I almost really hoped the 8 would have won last night, so that they would have had to explain, like, this guy's in this wreck. You gave him all these spots back, and now it turns out he wins the race. That would have the world probably would have burned at that point. But it was just it was not that hour. I mean, it was actually an hour, I think, right? I mean, when that Green-White-Checkered start, it seemed like took forever, and that was one of the more embarrassing hours of my spotting career. It seemed like.
All right. Back on this topic, because I feel like we could go for a while on it. Carson Hocevar got into the back of and turned Harrison Burton around under caution, but was not penalized by NASCAR. He should have received the same penalty as Lane Riggs during the truck race when he was parked for 2 laps for dumping Stephen Parsons for reckless driving. Spot on, spot off, Freddie.
I honestly think the penalty should be worse. Like, this is what guys get suspended for, right hooking people. Under green. I couldn't believe that there was nothing. I see you, and we talked about this. Dale's talked about this with caution flags. Different race directors call things differently. Different series directors call things differently. But I mean, you just right turned a guy under yellow. Like in front of half the field. I don't know what the hell led up to it. I thought I saw like a big block down the back stretch.
Harrison over the radio said that he blocked him on the backstretch, and that's why.
I saw, like, Harrison, they got up there and messing with each other. Harrison, I think, brake checked him a little bit, but at the end of the day, this guy turned somebody under yellow, and not only did they not give him, there was no penalty, none, it never even got mentioned on the radio. So I don't know. I don't know.
Is this something that could potentially?
I'm gonna be nice. I need that picture Jay sent me last week with the chalkboard.
Is this something that could potentially come up on the penalty report? I think that comes out on Tuesdays.
Maybe, I don't know, but I don't know why you don't do it in the moment. It's right there. There's a replay of it. They showed it on the big screen. I assume they showed it on television. You got it right then and there. The guy right hooks the guy under yellow. Nothing. I don't know.
Yeah, this is 2 weeks in a row that he's been so on such a good path. Has had a lot of speed. And coming into the Cup Series, he was arguably the top Spire car for a while. And he had a lot of speed, was looking good, and then last week at Loudon gets a left rear flat and brings the caution out at the end of the race, near the end of the race there for himself. Goes on in a 3, just throttles up, starts spinning out, immediately spikes the brakes to get a caution to save himself. And then this week, the 21 did throw a big block on him, but I mean, Denny threw a big block on Bubba, and which I think it probably cost Bubba more than it cost Carson at the time as well. But I don't know. All that aside, the caution comes out and one car goes up to another car and just turns him on the straightaway, and he could have taken out he could have taken out other cars with him. He could have turned them into the wall. I don't know. I don't know how this is acceptable.
Well, I guess we'll find out on that penalty report. Moving on. Denny Hamlin and Kyle Larson battled on track at the end of stage 2, and Hamlin voiced his displeasure with Larson on his radio. After the race, Larson had this to say. Jay, you want to play the clip?
Yeah, he was just upset with the way I was racing him at the end of the second stage. But it's racing.
Denny says that there's not a rivalry between you guys. Do you agree with that statement?
I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't agree or disagree. It comes and goes. I feel like, we race well together at times, and there's times where I feel like he races me, not the fairest, and I'm sure he feels the same way. So, yeah, I mean, it's not an ongoing rivalry, but, there's definitely, weeks and stretches where it, compiles. But, yeah, hopefully we can move on from it soon, and, I can get a little bit of respect from him.
TJ, spot on, spot off.
I don't know. Kind of seems a little bit like a rivalry, but I kind of agree with Kyle though. It plays out during the race. I don't think they start out each race with, I can't wait to hurt his race today. I think when it naturally forms on the track, they just race each other really hard, and sometimes one of them pushes a little bit too hard and there's contact. But that's just good hard racing between two guys that are really good to me.
Yeah, I mean it's. I don't think it's a rivalry, but these just happen to be probably the two championship favorites. I think if you had to set the odds somewhere right now, they're the seem like the two fastest guys every week or week in, week out. They're always in the front. They're always racing each other. Oh, and they're also very good at putting you in a bad position. So when they do it to each other, it's frickin' frack. They're going at it. I don't know. I mean, they're going to race each other hard. They're always going to race each other hard, and then they're both going to be annoyed by it. So I don't think either one of them's 100% guilty, and I don't think either one of them's 100% idiot. They might be 100% idiots. I don't know, but innocent. But yeah, they're just they're both very good at putting you in a bad spot in the cleanest way they can do it. It seems like TJ said, we had a pretty big run on Danny, and he just kind of continued to move up until we were. He threw like a really late block and took our air off our nose, and it is what it is. I mean, I don't blame him. That's the way you got to race now. But yeah, they're both very
it's a bad
good
part of the corner.
Yeah.
It's a really bad part of the corner. So
yeah, and listen, they're both really good at what they do, and they know exactly where to put you. You're in a disadvantage, and they're in an advantage. So when they do it to each other, that it's almost like reverse psychology. You're trying to think 3 moves ahead because this guy's going to put you in a bad spot, and how are you going to combat it? And it's just sometimes they cross a little bit of a line, but I mean I don't think that they by any means can't stand each other or some kind of rivalry. It's just 2 really fast race cars that are going to find themselves a lot every week.
As it gets closer to the playoffs and really the championship, is there something that maybe the teams should enforce to ensure that they're being smart rather than trying to screw it?
No, I seen one. I think it was Gabe Hart, a quote from Gabe Hart again that was like, quit the grab ass and we're going to win the race. Like stop around. You got the best car. You're going to win the race. Denny, I thought Denny was probably the best car. Bell was obviously really good. But, it's just, all right, that's it. Knock it off. Don't, I think, I don't know if he actually ran into him or not, but I've seen him go up there and swerve at him or something after the stage was over. So, just they're, like I said, it's not going to end by any means. This is going to continue for probably a long time.
All right. Well, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll head into Reaction Theater.
Now it's time for our favorite segment, Reaction Theater, where it's your turn to be heard. Reaction Theater is brought to you every week by Consumer Cellular.
Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable, nationwide coverage as leading carriers, but with plans as low as $20 a month.
And now for a limited time, get their best deal of the year. Buy any phone when you switch to Consumer Cellular and get 2 months of service free. That's right, the same fast, reliable, nationwide coverage as Big Wireless, now with 2 months free. Proof the best things in life really do come in twos. See ConsumerCellular.com for promotional details. Let's go to the calls.
So my wife says, hey, can I start the movie? And I said, sure, there's only 3 laps to go. Well, an hour later, she's talking to divorce attorneys on the phone. Oh, they're in overtime. Which overtime? Well, yeah. I'm sorry. The Green-White-Checkers has to go. Oh, the fans can't see a race ending. We gotta keep this going. Drivers could clean up their act, and maybe things can improve. The Green-White-Checkers has to go.
He still watched, though.
He didn't have a choice. It's going to cost him his marriage.
Guys, what the was that? I've been sitting here, I've drank like 12-pack of beer at this point, sponsored by Busch Light, if I might add. But what was that? And Logano gets the win? Why I don't want Logano to win. Get him the out of here. What a nightmare of a finish. Everybody's running out of gas. It's just a nightmare, guys. Have a great day. I'm going to go drink another 12-pack.
I didn't want Logano to win either.
Man, you really got to appreciate how good Logano is at saving stuff.
I'll vouch for that.
He saves enough fuel to win the race, and he saves his hairline somehow. I don't know how, but he was able to do that too.
That's tough. I was Chase Briscoe. We're told we got delayed in 3 hours. It seemed like last night. He was going to come on today. And I was going to ask him about that. Like, are you going to go like the shave it off route and then just rock the ball, or are you going to go the Logano route and grow some new hair? But yeah, poor Joey.
Wow, what a race. You know gas prices are too high when you have that many millionaires sweating, making life decisions at the pump. And man, I think Denny Hamlin has never wished that Toyota of his was an actual Prius more in his life. Have a good day, y'all.
Schrader always said, I don't know how you run out of gas. They give it to you for free.
Yeah, that's actually accurate.
Well, I've started like in NASCAR years ago, back when real men drove the race cars. Now they've got these damn kids. They're all idiots. They want to wreck each other all the damn time. And none of them are man enough to get out and fight. And here we go. We got the double bag wins tonight. I wish somebody hit him between his damn eyes. We like on all this piece of crap. Anyway, I liked it back in the day when Earnhardt and Dale Jarrett, Terry Labonte, those guys, back when the real men raced. It's just absolutely ridiculous the way these guys race anymore. It's constantly spinning each other out, running each other high. None of them are man enough to get out and fight. Go in front of the camera and cry about it. That's all they do.
I think he didn't seem like a Logano fan. I
couldn't tell.
I was getting that impression.
Hello, is this Mr. Carson Hosevar? Listen, buddy, this is Billy from the Nashville County Fairgrounds. I'm looking for somebody to drive my demolition derby car for the upcoming fair, and I seen the way you've been running people over all year long, and really your whole career. I figured you'd be great at the derby and thing, man. I'm not really sure you're too good at this NASCAR stuff, just 'cause the point ain't to hit people, buddy. But anyway, man, just give me a call back, buddy.
Yeah, I mean, he'd probably be good in a derby. Poor Carson. I felt like we were turning a corner with Carson. I felt like got in the Cup Series, he was starting to run good, get people's respect, and now, like you said, TJ, this is back-to-back weeks where it's like we're back to square one.
It's all about him.
That's it.
Oh my God, I'm so glad that NBC is featuring the 6 team on the broadcast because TJ, oh my God, you look so hot in that cool shirt. It makes me want to give you that.
Jesus.
New favorite.
TJ, tell Tamala to stop calling the hotline, please.
Next call, please. Jay, you could have probably done a better job at these calls.
No, this is perfect.
Showing this race during the rain delay is infinitely better than showing last year's race or last week's race. This is how it should be every time there's a rain delay.
Well, what they do,
They showed the
they
first
showed the race like
stage,
up to
first
that point.
and up to the red flag during their delay.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with
No,
that either
I
way.
thought like it was almost smart to keep it consistent, and then they had to shift to USA because of the Olympics. But I mean, I feel like that's fair.
Hey, Ty Gibbs, you got a new sponsor. He got you. Go 7.
That was a weird deal. They I don't want to ever accuse our buddy Justin of doing something dirty, but they were having an issue right around then on the radio with like volts. They were, it sounded like he was maybe having a battery go bad or something. He was worried about his volts and probably needed a caution, and then he got a caution. So yeah, that was interesting. The timing of it was very coincidental.
Well,
And you'll have that at
those
times.
are some solid calls. It's safe to say everyone is Team Freddie at the moment, so can't wait to see what.
There didn't seem to be many Logano fans in Reaction Theater this week. I don't know.
Usually?
The Blaney fans show up, and the Blaney fans show up usually, but I guess they're not. They only have love for one guy in their heart over there at Penske.
Seems like it. All right, we'll keep those calls coming. Just use our number 704-802-9572.
Consumer Cellular is the official wireless partner of Brett Keselowski, RFK Racing, and the number 6 car. If they can count on Consumer Cellular, you can too.
Brad Keselowski and RFK Racing know speed, and that's just what you get with Consumer Cellular.
Consumer Cellular has award-winning, 100% U.S.-based customer service centers, so you can always get the help that you need. It's like having your pit crew right when you need them.
Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable, nationwide coverage as the leading carriers, but with plans starting as low as $20 a month. There are no activation fees and no contracts. Consumer Cellular customers stay because they want to, not because they have to. They don't need to trap their customers.
You can even try Consumer Cellular for 30 days risk-free. If you don't love it, cancel it. But we'll bet you love it.
And now for a limited time, get their best deal of the year. Buy any phone when you switch to Consumer Cellular and get 2 months of free service. That's right, the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage as Big Wireless, now with 2 months free. Proof the best things in life really do come in twos. See consumercellular.com for promotional details.
Moving on to Ask DBC, this first question is from Matt. Should NASCAR be less stringent on what brings out a caution with each subsequent overtime attempt? TJ.
I felt like they were consistent. If there was a wreck, there was a caution. So, and all race long, I feel like it was the same. Even with the there was a couple cars that spun down through the grass in the front stretch that probably didn't need a caution. But it's not like one got and one didn't. So I think it was just how the race was called, and I felt like it was called. We probably didn't have to have them, but it was consistent.
I've said this 1,000 times on here, and this is a hill I'll die on. A caution is a caution, whether it's lap 1, whether it's lap 500, whether it's a pit cycle, if it's a caution, it's a caution. You should not call anything differently based on the circumstances. It's a caution flag for a reason. If there's something on the track that warrants people, it puts people in danger or is a dangerous situation, throw the yellow. It's not an entertainment flag. It's not, we need to re-rack everybody here and try this again. One restart, I think it was the second to last one because Logano was leading. Like we were a quarter of a straightaway from the white flag and we threw a yellow for a wreck that was in like last place, it seemed like. But, a caution is a caution. That's the way it always should be, and I'm never going to change my mind on that.
This next one is from Tom. Do any other great drivers mess up as much as Kyle Larson? He's a generational talent, but man, he seems to do it quite a bit. Freddie.
Man, there's one other guy that I think of when I've said this on here before, who is one of the nicest guys in the garage and one of the most talented guys in the garage. But Bell makes a lot of mistakes also. Bell had, I thought, maybe the best car yesterday. Him and the 11 were the two best, I thought, going into the race. And then it looked to me like I didn't go back and look at it, but it looked like he was, they lose track position. pitting, and now he's mid pack and ends up spun out. And it looked to me like he was middle of 3, right, TJ, and lost it.
He was middle, yeah.
And that doesn't happen. That kind of happens. I don't want to say a lot, but it happens more than it should. It seems like. But Larson, same thing. You get so focused on. Look to me like that deal. He was so focused on pushing Denny down into 1 that he just got arrow tight, lost a nose, and it just kind of went up and clipped Ross and ruined his day. But yeah, those are the 2 ones that they're just all out all the time.
Yeah, I mean that's how they race. That's just how those guys are. Every driver has different characteristics on how they drive, and some guys are really good at running really fast laps, and other guys are really good in long run stuff when tires fall off. And then and just like qualifying too, you got guys that are really good at qualifying. You got guys that like when Matt Kenseth won a championship. Freddie will probably remember this. I think his average qualifying position was like in the mid-20s, but he won numerous races that year because he just wasn't very good at qualifying. So, but he was a great race driver, and he was able to put races together and utilize his strengths. But yeah, those guys, they definitely make a lot of mistakes, but they're definitely exciting. I mean, they're super fast, they're on the edge, and it's what makes racing exciting.
One question I had on that one. So when a driver runs out of fuel, there's like a light that comes on, right? A few drivers mentioned it right before.
Yeah, your low fuel light comes on, Casey.
So Larson mentioned what?
Casey, he's kidding. There's no light.
No, Larson mentioned that his car typically would receive a notification when he's low, and he didn't receive any notifications, which is why when he restarted, he didn't know how he was out. Does that make sense?
I don't. Did they really get a note?
There's a light that comes
notification
on.
when they're low on fuel.
I feel like they said it on the broadcast. I definitely heard he said it on the broadcast. So I wasn't sure. That's why he said that he didn't have any warning of that.
Maybe I'm behind the times. I always thought our notification is when it stumbles. You bet.
I think they get I think there's a fuel pressure warning when it's really close,
Yeah.
I'm guessing that's probably what it is. I'm not 100% sure on what indications they get. I know at the end of run sometimes whenever we're close, it'll be, we'll tell them, it's on you when so obviously there's some sort of indication because you're not going to run until the driver stumbles. You're going to come. There has to be some sort of, I think it's a trigger of when it gets really close and you better come that lap. So I think that's what we're looking at.
Interesting.
Learn something new every day.
Yep.
I could be completely wrong. They might have a low fuel pressure or a low fuel light.
He definitely said it on the broadcast that he did not receive any warning, which he expected to. And somebody else mentioned it as well. This next one is from Murray. Congrats, TJ, for making the broadcast yesterday. How much of a difference did your cool shirt make, and where can I buy one?
Well, I mean, big surprise here. I think Freddie's going to fill that camera up next week. So, is that right, Freddie?
I have no idea.
I don't know. I thought, I think Nick Flicks told me that. So,
Nick Flicks.
Yeah, I don't know. It was
that's the thing you ever said, TJ.
Brett's not even here to compliment.
You're welcome. I learned it from Kevin. Hamlin. But it was a huge difference. And it was a huge difference. And I think it was brought up a lot this weekend. Probably had way more attention than what it needed to have. But so after Texas last year, whenever we sat there and baked in the 100-degree heat, I started researching ways that we could find, because we have no shade. every track but one. Is that right, Freddie?
Yeah.
Every track but one, we pretty much have no shade. And it is what it is. You just sit up there and bake. We're all used to it but there's rare circumstances. We've all learned that the roof at Nashville is one of the worst and hottest roofs there is. It's probably the hottest roof we go to in looking at it. But Texas last year, 100 degrees. We're up there 10 o'clock in the morning, maybe 9 o'clock in the morning all day. And, you're just trying to keep it so you don't wear yourself out just baking in the sun. I mean, you go out to the beach all day, you sit in the shade. Imagine going out to the beach all day and just sitting in the sun and you can't move and you're just there all day and you can't get in the water. You can't, there's just nothing else to do. So I started researching ways to, try to stay cooler and came across these shirts that, a guy makes and a company makes, and they just plug into a little cooler that you keep ice in and it just circulates the ice water through it. And it makes a big difference. And, me and Herm, I was glad we had him this weekend. Herm told me after, Saturday night, we get back to the hotel and normally after a long day like that, Herm's up there in age a little bit. So he likes to get back to the hotel and he, probably throws on Murder, She Wrote and goes to sleep, and he's going to kill me for this. But no, Herm said that's the best he's felt after a Saturday, long day on the roof on Saturday. And I was the same way. I mean, you don't feel as drained. You don't feel as wore out. And when the race started yesterday, I noticed after like the first stage, I'm sitting there. Normally we're just dripping in sweat. You're dying. And I mean, I was cool. I was like, I don't want to say I was cold, but you just felt good, and that's what the purpose of it was, for is so you're focusing on the race and what your job is instead of just. So, I mean, there's times up there, Freddie, and you can probably vouch for this, where you're just so hot, sometimes you're just like, good Lord, and it's hot. So, found a way to do that, and I found a company. I think it's you can look it up. It's ParagonProInc.com if you want to check them out. They make really good products, and we're going to continue to try to work on this and make it, continue to evolve it. And maybe, if it's going to be 90 plus, I'll probably use it. So really, really glad to have it and looking forward to using it down the road as well.
Are you going to put Paragon on your shirt and say, like, use
sponsor plug.
Use TJ for 20% off your next order. Freddie, if you want to place it, go for it.
Well, there's probably very little chance I ever wear one. And it's great, man. I just don't feel like carrying extra shit up to the roof with me. But listen, it was somebody shot it with an infrared gun. There was 168 degrees on the roof. Like TJ said, the walls are black, the ground's black. It's hot, And I will say credit to Nashville Superspeedway, SMI people. They had coolers full of ice and water, and then another cooler full of ice and towels for us to kind of soak ourselves with. So I can make my own cool shirt. I just douse myself in ice cold water every chance I got.
Yeah, you guys all, and I bring my own cooler. I have a little backpack cooler that I bring. They brought these what do you call them, sweat towels or whatever, that you dip in the water like you said, and you put it on your neck. It's also the cooler that has the water they're bringing up there.
No, there was different coolers this week.
Nah.
Yeah,
dude, you guys are all going back there and dipping those rags in the cooler with the water after you've already been sweating on them.
Not the one. There was two different coolers. I went to the one with the rags in it, and there was no water in that cooler. It was just rags, and then there was cooler for water. But I get what you're saying. Like a lot of times, them guys do that. Like they'll go back and dump their sweaty ass towels in the water cooler, and you're like,
you're wringing it out, dipping it in there, getting it wet again, and you're just in a line to do that. You guys are all going to the same one. That's disgusting.
That sounds great.
Hey, listen, whatever it takes to stay cool.
Hey, yeah, I mean, it's better than falling out.
All right, well, don't forget, send in your questions on X each week using hashtag AskDBC. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, it is time for What an Idiot.
I have a list this week.
All right, TJ, feel free to kick things off.
All right, let's go. All right, the first one I'm gonna go with is Pac Rass, for grilling Brad about the cool shirt. It must have been a slow news day for Bob, but when trying to figure out how it was expensed. I mean, dang, Bob. I mean, I'm
Bob
right
for
here.
work at the
Geez.
IRS now or something?
I know. Geez, Bob. Between that and it's hard for me not to go 2 in a row on Hocevar again, which you can't right hook people under caution. You sped up to get to him, you bumped him, and then you hooked him. I don't like last week you're spinning out to bring a caution out for yourself. Quit.
Yeah. I had two. One, the first one's Brett. Poor Brett got thrown under the bus this week about Clint Boyer saying he's never seen SMT data from his spotter before. I thought it was pretty comical. I was actually shocked to hear that Brett hadn't been poring over hours and hours of SMT data and relaying that information to Clint. I figured that's what he was doing at home all the time. But apparently not, I guess. But I think my one idiot has to go to the poor 74 Xfinity team that showed up to Nashville and failed tech 3 times and got a DNQ because they couldn't get their car to go through tech. I don't know. That can't happen. You spend all the time and money to come here to the race and don't even get a chance to go on the racetrack and try to qualify. So unfortunate for them, but I think that's where I'm going to have to let my award sit for now.
Interesting. All right. Well, I feel like Brett gets an honorable mention for anything, so I'll call him my one idiot for missing the show.
I think he's flying right now. I don't even know where he's going, to Rochester for something. God only knows what.
Oh, that's right. He did say something about that.
Again, like I told you, I never saw him the whole weekend, TJ. You said I was going to go out on last
night.
Yeah,
I thought I would cross past him at some point.
Where? You don't.
But we never saw him.
You don't go to bars, so wouldn't Brett be there?
TJ was never going to see it because Brett was.
Well, yeah, I mean,
they don't. Their paths don't line up. TJ don't go to bars, and Brett don't want to go to the racetrack. So,
I mean,
yeah, that's actually very true. We did run into one of our buddies there, Bernard Pollard.
Yeah,
that's awesome. You need to have him on the show.
It's good to see him
in the Ally Suite. He's still trying to hit me.
I thought he was going to hit me.
Shout out to our buddy Tim Duggar for coming and bringing the rain again. He played the pre-race concert and left and flew to Munich apparently, and he every week he shows up. It rains. He came to Wilkesboro. He was in town for the Wilkesboro week. He was playing a couple shows, and I don't think he played the whole time he was there. He was supposed to play like 3 shows, a couple somewhere at a Walmart or something, and then play at Wilkesboro. And I don't think he played the whole time he was there because it rained every day. So yeah, shout out to him. I did hear one thing, TJ, newsworthy. I think we're going to run option tires at Richmond. I heard they're going to have, I don't know if Jordan might've talked about this last night on the teardown. But sounds like we're going to kind of run with Wilkesboro. There's going to be maybe 2 sets I heard of option tire, which is softer compound. So maybe that might work out well. And if it works there's no reason why they won't do it at a place like maybe Martinsville. Or
why don't we just run the option tire all the time?
They're still probably not ready to commit to it, I assume. But at least listen, maybe the problem is the crew chiefs are smart enough that I think we'll all probably end up on the option tire at the same time, like we saw at Wilkesboro. But who knows? Maybe it'll produce some good racing and some varying strategies. But heard that yesterday. Heard the schedule's coming out next week after Chicago. I heard you may see the schedule maybe on Tuesday or Wednesday of that week. No surprises. Bowman Gray Clash, the playoff races we talked about. I heard Mexico City's not done, but it's close to done. So that might be the only hang up, but I assume we're going to go there. It'll probably get done.
You want to fight each other the weekend before?
Yeah, let's just throw punches.
Me and you, we'll start a GoFundMe to pay for the fines, and then we'll get a week off.
That'll be perfect.
I'm sure Brett will be on the.
What else did I got notes here? I can't remember what the hell else. Oh, 21's got a driver.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. 21's got a driver.
Stuart Haas guy, which is, I think everybody knows it's Stuart Haas guys that are the ones looking. I don't know how many hints I can give.
Is it one without money or one with money?
Without money.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we'll find out soon. I'm sure Brett is already volunteering to go to Mexico, so I think.
Yeah, I don't. Be interesting to see. I can't wait to see Brett in Chicago this week. I see all the fans gather around him. Shout out to our friend spotter Julie. Got us hooked up with some tickets to the Cubs game on Friday. So we'll be there. I think believe it or not, Casey, I think TJ might even hang out with us. Like, it's a possibility TJ is going to leave his hotel room and like.
I mean, I don't think he. I think he leaves his hotel room. I think he just only goes to the track.
Yeah, that's it.
Freddie, I don't know if you've ever figured this out yet, but I stay the hell away from you
I
and Brett.
know. We talked about this whenever I'm at the track.
Not Friday. Not Friday. You're coming with.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's because my dad's going home. I mean, I got a chaperone. So
keep an eye on old ass.
Yeah.
Well, Brett, if you're listening, please.
Yeah, but I'm looking forward to Chicago, though. Looking forward to Brett getting to Chicago and actually coming back. And, I think last year, for everything that was thrown at that race, it ended up being a really cool event. And I hope, looking ahead this week, I hope all them concerts get to happen for people, and it has the atmosphere that it started with, because in the beginning of the weekend last year, the atmosphere was incredible and it was really cool. And I don't think it got to finish, the fair shake that it deserved. And I think if you're in the area, it's going to be a cool event to go and check out. There's lots to do. There's plenty of places to stay. And it's going to be an entertaining race. These guys, most of them are not street course racers, and there's going to be some mistakes. And I do think they're going to start figuring it out more and more. The more times we go somewhere, the better these guys are going to be. But the race is still going to be good. I think, the weekend's just shaping up to be really eventful and fun.
Agreed. Ready for your...
Yeah, I looked the other day, and I think the weather looks better, obviously much better. It like you said, it'll be interesting to see how it goes, but I'm looking forward to it. It's not supposed to be 1,000 degrees, which is going to be nice for a change. And God, let's just pray for no rain. I'm so tired of rain.
Freddie, from your schedule rumors, did they confirm Chicago's coming back, or is that something?
I don't know if it's confirmed, but I think they still have a year left on their agreement. So I think there's at least 3 years.
I believe so.
I think we have at least one more year. So hopefully they have a good show this week, and we can go back. I mean, we can hopefully go back. Chicago, the city of Chicago is awesome. The downtown there where we stay. We walk back and forth to the track every day. It's like I don't know. Maybe
the access was really everything was. I don't think it could have been any simpler than it was. Laid out. The truck drivers all getting in. Us getting into the track. Getting back afterwards, I don't think it could have been any simpler. I did hear that one thing that we probably should have thrown in the what an idiot part was whoever closed the gate that we all go through to leave. Did you hear about that?
It was open when I went through.
Probably because you were first.
Well, they closed it not long after we got. So they waved us through there, which this is how they told. They let the team people leave a certain a different route, and you have to have a parking pass or a credential or whatever. And last year that's how everybody did it. Well, this year that's how it started whenever we got there, but apparently they closed it not long after we went through and said no, not anymore. So
that's not ideal.
And everyone leaves from the garage. It was unexpected, and I don't know why, because Freddie can vouch for this. You go down that road, they got it set up for traffic just to go that way. like they have the road blocked at certain areas so people can't go back that way, and they have it set up for leaving that way. So I don't know. I don't know who made the call to close that gate, but that was probably a really bad call.
Not ideal.
Well, moving on. Congratulations to Freddie. You won at Nashville. And we are going to take picks for Chicago. I get to go first.
My guy ran out of gas and
Yeah.
won.
Yeah, I don't really know how this happened, but I get to go.
Who'd you
What?
pick?
Bowman.
You did?
No, I
Yeah.
had Bowman.
No, you didn't.
I had Eric Jones.
You wanted him. I took him before you.
Who did I pick? Oh, that's right. You did. I had
You
it set on
Suarez.
that. Yeah.
Well, I'll take SVG for Chicago.
Oh wow, didn't see that
I
one
mean,
coming.
if I finish last, I get to pick what I want.
All right, so Brett's first choice was SVG,
Brett.
so his second choice is McDowell. Let's go with McDowell.
Interesting. TJ.
I am gonna go with Tyler Reddick.
Freddie.
Lay up, Freddie. You got no choice.
It's a half a layup.
Todd Gilliland.
Justin Haley.
He has, I mean,
Justin
he's
Haley
up
was
there.
battling SVG for the win last year.
Yeah, but I mean, Justin's going to be Justin's a good road course racer. So that's not a bad choice, but he's had speed here lately where he's becoming a valid option for, you know what I mean? Like for a normal pick.
Kind of like I talked about on here last week, you get to the point of the year where you get a little more desperate and maybe push some limits to try to find a little more speed, and you see they incurred a penalty this week, and they didn't seem to have the same speed in the race that they had the weeks previous. Maybe coincidence, maybe not, but we'll who knows, we'll see moving forward. Hopefully it goes. I hope they cheat their asses off this week, whatever they got to do.
They did last week.
It worked out so well. I also want to give a shout out to Zane Smith with his second place run. Super strong. I feel like we give him a hard time a little bit on the show. He's had some bad luck, but glad to see that team up there, and hopefully that helps confidence-wise too.
Yeah, that's
at the end of the day, people can be mad that Joey won that race, but Joey obviously didn't have race-winning speed to the whole race, but so they played their strategy for that scenario, and it worked out. And same thing with Zane and Briscoe. Briscoe was, in the first part of that race, he was so far back. I mean, there's no way he was going to be up there. Next thing you know, he's racing he's racing Joey for the win. So, good job to those guys for getting, sticking out that strategy. And, I know they didn't straight up. None of them guys were probably going to would have been probably top 5-ish. But none of those guys were going to run top 5, probably not even top 10 without this playing out. But good job to them. That's what you have to do sometimes. It's not always the fastest car doesn't always win.
Yeah, I thought Paul called a great race yesterday for them because
he did.
I'm obviously, we're racing them for the playoffs and at the time. And, I'm kind of hyper-focused on what they're doing as well as us. And they ran really long that first stage, then put 2 tires on to get some track position. And I felt like they were, every time that they was the chance to come down pit road, they came out with track position. Whether it was no tires, 2 tires, he didn't have the speed to always hold on to it. But, it put him in position there for the end. But, yeah, it was they did a good job, and they were there to win. They were in the right spot.
I thought Tyler's moves at the end to try to pass Denny Joey were a little they were a little too easy for Joey to handle. I think I think Tyler just committing to the high side made it real easy for Joey to just enter in the middle and wash up one lane, and there's no way Tyler was going to be able to do anything. I think looking back on it, I think there's different approaches that Tyler would probably take to make another run at Joey, or at least make him cover more of the racetrack. You know what I mean? Like he kind of went in there and committed to one lane, and you know, I've worked with Joey. Joey's going to block that and have that. I mean, Joey could do that with his eyes closed.
Yeah, I think you know this as well as I do. Like everybody asks how you prepare for these races. The best thing you do preparing wise is knowing the tendencies of the guys you're racing. And if I'm Coleman in that situation, you know Tyler wants the top. You know that's just what he prefers. So
that's how he got there.
Yeah, you've got to kind of do the unexpected. You've got to change your game plan up because these guys know what you want and kind of where you want to be. So they're going to take that away, and you've got to counteract that with kind of trying to catch them off guard or do something a little bit more unexpected. But yeah, I didn't get to watch it because we were side by side the last lap. But it seemed like on the replays, it just he kind of committed to the top and it didn't work.
Yeah, I guess little Nick Flicks needed a few more hours of video, and it would have got it.
Megan has one idiot this week. She's just told me from behind the scenes here. Garrett Smithley. We went out last night and ran into Garrett, and when I ran into Garrett, he was wearing a hoodie and jeans.
Did he fall over? Because you're a lot bigger than him.
No, a hoodie. He had a hoodie on. It's 100,000 degrees here, and he's wearing a hoodie and jeans. I was like, get away from me. I can't even look at you. So that's Meg's giving out honorary wooden idiots now this week as well.
What is that? Why would you do that?
I don't know. I was like, what is wrong with you? What are you doing?
Why would you do that?
I think he said he was cold. I don't know.
Listen, if I'd have got ready early enough, I was gonna show up here with like a toboggan hat on and a jacket saying I was still cold from yesterday wearing my shirt. I was gonna do that, but
I'd say 400 times I got asked this week, do you got a cool shirt? Where's your cool shirt? How's your cool shirt? I told Cliff, I ran into Cliff in the garage and he's like, how's your cool shirt? And I'm like, Cliff, if you could imagine how many times somebody's asked me that, he's like, I take mine back then. He's like, I don't want to be like everybody else. So it was just nonstop all weekend long. I appreciate you idiots putting us in that position. But
you can thank Bob. Thank Bob for that.
Yeah, Bob. You, Bob.
We love you, Bob.
I mean,
anyways, thank y'all for listening. If you're in Chicago, please take a picture of Brett. Make sure he's, hanging in there. It's a struggle these days, but have a great week and talk to y'all after Chicago.
Yeah. Everybody have a good 4th of July. Hit the fireworks.
Safe 4th of July. Don't hold the fireworks and throw them, please. There's videos that come out every year of people doing that, and I've never done that.
My brother-in-law might,
but don't ever do that.
Moment, so it should be a fun one.
Don't. Be safe and enjoy the 4th of July, and hopefully we see a lot of you in Chicago because every week we go to the track now. There's many people that come up and talk about the podcast. So keep it up, and hopefully we see you there.
Agreed.
Yep. We'll see everybody out there.
Yeah.
Stay cool. Have fun. We're out.
Follow.